everyone. Thank you so much for joining us, and welcome to a very special edition of BMI Speaker Sessions. I'm Jessica Gelt, BMI's Executive Director of Creative, and just looking out, it feels so good to be back in person with everyone, so thank you so much for joining us today. I honestly can't think of a better way than to kick off the year than with today's two very special guests. An artist, songwriter, producer, and multi-instrumentalist whose singles Weatherman and Only You featuring Alessia Cara have garnered millions of streams, and whose talent, charisma, and live energy have captured the attention of fans, global brands, media outlets, as well as some of the industry's biggest artists, from Justin Bieber to Sia. Please welcome to Speaker Sessions, Eddie Benjamin. And also joining us today, a two-time Grammy nominee and one of the youngest producers ever nominated by the Recording Academy, and who's had Billboard charting songs like Weatherman with Eddie Benjamin, Yummy by Justin Bieber, and Gifted by Cordae, and a talent whose production combines old school sounds and influence with a fresh new attitude. Please welcome songwriter, producer, and not to mention also an artist himself, Kid Culture. Thank you guys so much for joining us today. This is really exciting.
I'm very excited.
Oh, we love that kind of energy. Okay, just a quick little icebreaker, help get us started. What was the first thing you guys listened to this morning? How do you like to start your day and get into the creative mindset?
You want to tackle that one?
Well, today, I just had a single drop on Monday, plug. So I listen to that in the shower, like, on repeat. But usually, I'm gonna give you a gem. You might be mad at me for this. But every morning in the shower, this is how I time my shower. I listen to Superwoman by Stevie Wonder. Every morning, I start my day like that. It's like 8 minutes. If you're in the shower more than 8 minutes, you don't have a productive day ahead of you. So, yeah.
It really depends. You know, I love to drive, so I try to drive in the morning, and I do not have my license, so I get my girlfriend to drive me to coffee, and sometimes it'll be really early, and I'll just like put music on. At the moment, I've been listening to a lot of classical music, like Bach. I think he knows how to use chords very well, and like when I write, you know, I'll take like left-handed movements, and like, you know, I definitely do intentional listening for sure in the morning specifically. And when we're writing, you know, like, you know, I feel like I was at his apartment maybe a few months ago, and I'll have a shower and he'll like throw on some like really random like completely different sonic landscapes and just like really try to refresh. So yeah, the morning is like a gem, as Kid said, yeah.
Yeah, super important. So I'm thrilled to be speaking with you both today, and I think the skill, craft, and sounds you two infuse into the projects you work on is incredibly special, and it's truly energizing music right now. So with that, I want to start at the beginning and take things all the way back for a moment. I know you both started playing music at a very early age. Eddie, you were barely 13, playing jazz clubs and residencies, and Kid, you started making beats as early as the age of 5. Throwing this out to you both, what was that aha moment for you that originally drew you to music?
For me, it was seeing my dad make music and just seeing someone in their element and doing something that they love to the fullest every single day, writing 1,000 songs. And then I tried it, and I was like, I see why you do, like, I see that. So just like, yeah, seeing him in his element really like inspired me to be like, yo, I want to do this. And then like, when I did it, I was like, yeah, this is me for life.
Yeah, this feels right.
Yeah.
My answer's a little different. I actually saw Prince live, and I saw him like slapping the bass in an arena, and I was like, so I just went home and asked for a bass. Yeah, actually I should mention my dad is like a drummer, touring guy, but I was never really pushed into anything, and I really was just like listening, and yeah, that concert was like the moment where I was like, I need to run that forever.
Yeah, this is something I need to do.
Mm-hmm.
Was there a singular moment or person or event that helped sort of transition that early passion and awareness that this could then be a career for either of you?
I say church. Like for me, growing up in church was just like, you learn, like if you play in church, you learn so much about every single part. Like, I mean, if the players are there, like every part matters. And simplicity, like that just taught me simplicity. Like songs can be big with just like a band setting and not like extra layers and like, but we dabble.
Eddie, what about you?
I think when I learned the line, I was in my lounge room, I was playing bass, and I learned the line to Master Blaster. Do you guys know that one? I was like, I learned it quick, and I was like, I think I could get good at this. And honestly, like, I have quite a competitive mindset when it comes to practicing, and I kind of got into an extreme loop, and that was kind of just like, I don't think that was a moment. I was just like, it was kind of an interesting time. I feel like that day when I learned that lick, something definitely clicked, and it just kind of switched. I was like, I have to do this, yeah.
I kind of have like two answers for that. Cause it's like, yeah, church was like the grounding, but like to get me to where I'm at today is when I flew out here and I met Pooh Bear. And I just
Flew out from where?
Seattle, cause I'm from Seattle. But yeah, when I flew out here, I was like 15, turned 16, met him, started making a ton of songs with him, and that was a defining moment that let me know that I'm crazy at what I do. Because hearing you repeat the question made me think of that, so.
When you flew out here at 15, 16, how did you connect with Pooh Bear? That seems like lightning in a bottle.
Yeah, I had a manager, my first manager. He just found me, cause like people knew about me in Seattle as just like this young kid who just makes mad beats. He's just crazy. He's just super like creative. I never like posted anything, but like I would always be at just random studios in the city. There's really like the music scene out there is cool, but yeah. So I got connected with my manager, and he introduced me to Pooh Bear. Same night, I flew out here, and yeah, we just started making songs. Like literally, it just happened like that. God, that's how it happened.
Yeah, amazing. And at what point did the two of you meet?
I was on Instagram late at night. I hadn't dropped any music yet. I just moved out here, and I just saw a message saying "Let's cook," with a chef emoji. Immediately, I was like,
Yeah.
okay, that's interesting. But I was shopping around. I kind of went through the rounds. I was doing so many sessions, getting canceled on. No one kind of knew what I was on, and then yeah, we kind of really clicked the first time we kind of messed around in the studio.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there was an instant chemistry for you guys.
Instant. Like, especially where I was at in life. Like, he was the perfect person for me to meet. I could honestly say that. Like, us linking up was like, once again, God. Like, he's from Australia. I'm from Seattle.
Did you guys share similar influences or like inspirations that helped sort of root that chemistry?
That's what made us click.
Yeah. I think trios, I think duos are so powerful in music. And yeah, I think something we shared in common is we were in a lot of quite high energy rooms when we were young and getting thrown around a lot, labels this, labels that, and we kind of, I don't want to speak for you, but it's kind of intense, when you're really trying to find your like grounding of like, what is me? What am I trying to make? What the is going on in general? Just being a human, like insane. But yeah, that confidence that I feel like, that unspoken kind of energy and confidence that we have as a creative duo is like definitely something really special. And I don't know if there's a label or word, just like a little bit of magic vibe.
Magic, it's like the perfect word for it. So to get a bit more into your creative process and working together, Eddie, I'm gonna throw this one to you. What drives or initiates the writing process for you? How do songs usually come about?
Okay, yeah, this is a crazy question because I think there's so many settings and, people do things differently. Me personally, I was obsessed with music from the 60s through the 80s. And one thing I kind of learnt about that era is the community of songwriters and how close everyone was when you were making the albums. You hear like Freddie Mercury, Stevie's albums, I could go on forever. One thing I noticed is how close everyone was. And I think while making this album when we first, got together, is like he was with me kind of going through everything. Wasn't like, okay, let's go and write a session it will start at 12 and I'll tell you how I'm feeling and then I'll see you in a week. Like it was very constant. And I apologize in advance, I'm an intense person, but he was really with me, and I think that's what set the music. It's like, what is it?
Is it true at one point you guys lived together?
We were in the house.
So it was during this time?
Well, making the album, yeah, like we got a house and we put all our gear inside of it, and it was just me and him writing.
No engineer.
Nothing. Just really just me and him, like, and it just turned out insane. Like,
the first song we wrote in that house was Weatherman.
yeah.
And we had been working, chipping away, kind of having intentions sonically, what do we want to make? But yeah, when we really sat down and took a breath and was like, okay, the next 20 days, this is it. Yeah, the focus just came.
So speaking of Weatherman, it was your first single together, and it came out last year and did incredibly well, charting on Billboard Mainstream Top 40 for 7 consecutive weeks.
Really?
Yeah, well, fact check. Can you talk a little bit about that song specifically and sort of the Weatherman era?
So that song is like you said, we were hanging out like every day. And that's another gem too. If you're a producer, if you think you're a producer, like it's not just like like the studio. It's producing is outside of the studio too. Like knowing him and like us knowing each other, that you can feel it in the music. It's something different. Like, yeah, you link with people and you do sessions, and it's just a LA thing. You just got to get in and you got to make it happen. You got to go through that to find who you are creatively. Say all that to say, going back to the song, we got in that house. There was a piano. Every morning I would just wake up and I would just play. We would just play. We just play. That's how we write. There's a jam. Just jam and just see what you come up with. But yeah, I was just playing every day. The piano was like literally in the perfect spot, like piano here, window, crazy view, Malibu, right there. So I'm just like, the sun's coming up, sounds kind of cheese, but it's the truth. Like, I'm playing these chords, jump, 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 jump. And then I just start singing. Go tell the weatherman, I said, I want it sunny outside today, no dark. And it just came out, the whole song, and then we would just go back and forth. I'm like, what should we say here? What should we say here? And then we just write the lines, and we just made the demo beat just to get the idea out. And then we were just like, oh nah, this is the sound.
We had the hooks, and this man went and made the whole beat for like I don't even know how long. And we had the choruses not recorded, and then we wrote the verses.
Yeah, I forgot about
But
that.
the whole song just kind of came, I feel like when kids sit at the piano, I'm quite, I feel like I trained a lot in harmony, classical, and kid comes from, more church background, so it's not as, it's a very different thing. So like when, I'll sit next to him playing and the song just comes. It's like a chessboard, and it's never forced, but literally in the morning, it kind of just all.
It was so funny because recording that, we had no engineer. So like, I literally taught him how to record. Like, I was cutting the drums. That's what I was gonna say. The drums on that song.
Josh, do you hear that?
Hilarious.
I recorded the drums.
Like, but yeah, it turned out amazing.
It was really fun.
Also, use what you have and believe in the person you work with. There, boom.
Kid, you've also worked with legends like Stevie Wonder and Herbie Hancock. How does who you work with change your creative process?
Well, one thing when I was in the studio with Herbie was like just watching him find voicings was like the craziest thing ever. Like, cause it was just like, it sounded like he didn't know how to play piano. And this is the greatest guy there is to me personally. So yeah, just like that showed me like, just take your time, like figure it out, like make it actually mean something. Like, yeah, that's what I could say.
Eddie, you've also had some very notable collaborators on your releases, Sia, Ryan Tedder, Alessia Cara, and you've worked with artists like Shawn Mendes, Meghan Trainor, Earth, Wind and Fire. How do you know when a song is for you versus another artist, and do you approach those sessions differently?
That's a very good question. I think I've personally learned how to compartmentalize my ideas. But that being said, I feel like when you know, when I go and work with Shawn or work with Meghan, they kind of allow me to just be me. I'm not like there to, I don't know, I kind of feel like people are addicted to the roles or the names of the roles, and I think it's a lot looser and a lot vaguer, and I know that's even harder to like put down what we say on paper. I know. But yeah, you know, I kind of just, they let me be me, and I definitely compartmentalize my ideas and kind of go, okay, this could definitely, you know, I'm definitely intentional sonically and just concept-wise, you know, it has to be very truthful. You know, even with Shawn, that session we wrote It'll Be Okay, and we drove up. We were just there with a guitar, and it just came out of him. But like, I think we were talking for 4 hours before. I think that's probably where the real work is done, honestly.
For sure. And last year you did a series of North American dates on Justin Bieber's Justice World Tour. What was that experience like for you, playing some of the biggest arenas?
Yeah, it was amazing. Yeah, so that was like my first tour ever, and as you know, it was a while. It was like 4 months of nonstop touring. So I think, you know, throwing anyone into that is gonna be kind of shell shocked at the start. But I have been visualizing about myself performing in those kind of settings for so long. I think maybe by the 4th show, I was really, really comfortable. But again, like, just a spare of the moment person, you know. I remember there were these like 2 guys like looking at me on stage and like whispering, and I got really angry and I did a backflip on stage. And then the whole rest of the tour, I was just doing backflips. But seriously, I was like, you can see from up there as well. Like, it's like, yo. But yeah, it was really funny. But yeah, you know, just try to, lots of people say just try to not think, but I really would just try to let go, you know.
What role has Justin played in your life, either as a mentor or as a friend?
He is, yeah, he's such a special person. He's been in my life for maybe 3 years now, and he's, you know, definitely like an older brother figure to me. He's definitely very protective and very like adamant about, you know, lots of things. But honestly, never oversteps and never pretends like he has every answer to everything, and never, you know, it's just a genuine kind of connection. And again, it's just like, he teaches me a lot about energy. We talk about that, just how to control your energy. Sometimes he's like, man, energy's kind of a lot today. You all good? I'm like, oh, I'm just trying to like handle it right now, you know? And talking to someone who's really been through a lot. Yeah, it's very special. I'm grateful for sure.
Yeah, very special. So Kid, turning back to you for a moment, in 2020, at only 18 years old, you received 2 Grammy nominations for your work with Cordae, including Best Rap Album and Best Rap Song. That same year, you were also a co-writer and producer on Justin Bieber's Grammy-nominated hit single, Yummy. Can you talk a little bit about that experience for you, or maybe how those specific opportunities with Justin and Cordae came about?
Yeah, well, like, me and Cordae met at this studio one night, and he was just like, yo, play me some beats. So I played him a beat. He recorded a whole song to the beat. I played him another beat. He's like, yo, this is crazy. He started writing to it instantly. And then he was just like, yo, what are you on, like, this next month? And I was just like, let's make music. And then we made that album for 8 months. And every day we woke up, we're like, we're going to the Grammys. Like, we're going. Like, it don't matter. Like, we're
Decided.
Intention.
They went.
Like,
They went.
we're going. Like, good morning, we're going. Like, we're going. Justin was from working with Pooh. So me and Pooh made like an unbelievably large amount of songs for him. And that song was like cool to me, but like everything else that we had was like way crazier. And that just taught me like how it actually works. Like, you know what I mean? When you make these crazy songs and you'd be like, these are gonna shift not only like music, but just like life for everyone, that feeling. But then they pick Yummy. But the reason why is because the hook, no matter what language you speak, you can sing that hook, and the hook is all that matters. That song, I made that beat at 16. We made that song, I was 16 years old.
So you had no idea that was going to be the single.
Nah, I mean, I found out like a month before, I think, or 3 weeks before, I think it was. Yeah, ended up being the one that brought him back out. So God bless me with that. So shout out.
Do you find that sometimes it's not the one, like as a producer, like it's not the one that you think is going to be the one? Like when you're out and you're working for a specific artist or you're trying to pitch to a specific artist, I think sometimes there's a tunnel vision of what you believe they're looking for. And oftentimes it's sort of the exact opposite.
Yeah, all that matters is the artist's vision. That's what you have to realize as a songwriter and a producer. It's like, yeah, you can feel like your opinion is the one, but they have to sing that song for the rest of their life. So it's like, it doesn't matter about you. It does. You may be writing that song that they're singing for the rest of their life, but they're singing it.
And Eddie, back to you about songs that you're singing. We know there's a lot of new music coming for you.
Yeah.
Your debut album forthcoming. Is there anything you could tease or tell us a little bit about that?
Words, huh? I mean, yeah, I think I've waited a while to put out my first album. You know, again, going back to what Kid said, is I definitely took my time, didn't let anyone rush me, and I've had, you know, you go through things and certain excitement periods of like people try to kind of shove you to, you know, fit into what they kind of want. But, you know, this album is really just core experiences. That's kind of how I would say. I don't really like vague things in general, whatever that may mean to anyone. All of these songs are extremely fundamental just to my life. I wrote a really sad song that I'm still iffy about putting out, honestly. You know, it's very close to me. I didn't intend anyone to hear it at the time. And obviously, like, I always want it to be refined and lifted is what, you know, Kid always brings to the table. But yeah, like, it was an experience maybe Kid didn't know about until I played the song for him. And it was just like, you know, it's intense feeling someone so vulnerable, so close to you. But then again, like, to have fun, to move away. Okay, the story is really depressing and that's a lot, but like, we still have to make this story flow. And I think, yeah, moving back into like fun is just really, really important.
What do you hope people take away from the music you guys are making together?
That you can make what you want to make at any time. Don't let like the Billboard charts like define your creativity. I never liked hearing that like in interviews growing up, like, cause I'm like, I like to make what I like to make. And if the world loves it, doing me is something special. So you'll feel way more fulfilled if you do you. Yeah.
So we're gonna stay on that, doing you. Your debut single, Keep It, just came out this week.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Literally just came out on Monday. What can we expect from your debut album?
Everything you love about music, you'll find it on this album. Whether you like alternative, whether you like hip hop, whether you like clean cut pop, you'll get everything on here. Like, and it's me at the highest level. So yeah.
It's insane. I don't mean to cut you off, but, you know, I feel like when we first met, Kid went into the booth a few times and I don't know what this is, but he didn't call himself an artist at the time. And I was just like, I called Mike, my manager at the time. They weren't working together, now they are. And, you know, I was just floored. And like, when you meet someone so special, I'm so competitive. I just want to bring that up again. Seem a little chill. I'm so competitive. I will, you know, and when I met this person, I was really like, for music, I was like, he needs to be in a situation where he can just make whatever he wants. And yeah, your album is a journey.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Of course.
Well, I mean, I think we can all agree that your individual and collaborative achievements really speak to a deeper level of craftsmanship, caring about the little details, the sounds used, the physical performance, things that the listener may not think about, but the things that actually really give a song life. Clearly, the personal connection with your collaborator is hugely important. So speaking to the songwriters and producers that are in the room, What's a piece of advice that you give to someone trying to find the right people to collaborate with?
It's gonna find you. Like when you're looking for it every day and you're trying to write this song for this artist, 9 times out of 10, they have like 8 people writing already. So it's like, you don't even know what they're on. So just focus on actually, from the core, making great songs, like arrangements, like really like, whatever that means to you. Like, I don't know what it sounds like, but if it sounds good to you, hey, just keep doing that and you'll get better. Repetition, put the time in, and know that there's know that there's a million other people who wanted more. From day one, my dad told me that. Like, so I wanted a lot. We both do. It just oozes from us. Like, we just like, this is our like this music. Like, you know, like if you don't feel like, you know, you own it.
Yeah.
You gotta be confident. All that.
For real. I don't wanna sound like I, know kind of any definitive thing. It's really hard to pinpoint anything creative. But I think finding your people who you want to make music with is like, I guess this is just the whole topic of the thing, but you really need to know them as a person and have real conversations. You can talk about, we're gonna make the craziest shit, we're gonna flow on this, and something, of course, might happen and it might be great, but I think to make consecutive good songs, and that's something that gets a little lost, is like a lot of people are trying to make one song, a single, which is extremely important. But to me, a single doesn't exist if there's not a whole world behind it. What is that? It's one thing. Like, I didn't even know our song was on the chart for that long, and that honestly would mean nothing if there wasn't a whole story behind it. And I think that is just a personal connection you find with whoever you want to, work with.
How do you guys feel about doing a little Q&A?
Let's go.
All right. Take a couple questions from the audience. Yeah.
Hi. Here.
Hi.
Singer, songwriter. So something personal that I always toy with is the balancing what is commercial and then you say I'm very intentional as well. What remaining true to yourself as a writer. Have you guys ever been okay, I want to make this a hit, or has it never been that? Has it always been just you guys?
This sounds crazy. For us, it just happens. Like, I don't, like, I told this to him at the beginning when we started working. Like, personally for me, I literally hear the song. I can hear the song and what it's gonna be, like, at the end. Like, what it should be, I know, like, okay, so then the question is, how do we get there? And 9 times out of 10, I'm only hearing the hits. So it's just like, listen to great music and realize like, oh, they were in their vibe or their space, but they still, like, the energy that they captured made it a hit. Yeah. And obviously there's the math side of things that actually make hits. But it's like, what do you want? Do you want that super clean cookie cutter? Or do you want to search and take the time and find something that's going to last forever? So it's like, don't search for the hits. Just keep writing, and they will happen.
For me, I have no idea what a hit is, but obviously people will put them in ramifications. But for me, a high energy song that is very piercing. When I was younger, I'd think, you fuck around with tempos. I was in the studio with Ryan Tedder for months, so I learned a lot of that structured pop writing too. It all the work of sprinting, of trying and failing, and this song, let's do this tempo, hard cut here on the vocals. It all just melted into just this feeling, and when we had a strong idea, you just kind of attack it. And I feel like everything all the other songs you make before just melts into what has to happen, honestly. I know it sounds so vague, but it's what happens when you chase a hit, It sounds like what everyone made today. So, yeah.
In the front.
Hey guys,
Hi.
I'm Maddie. I was just wondering, so do you guys feel like choosing a few key collaborators that you that understand you and that you want to work with until you die is more important than finding people that re-inspire you constantly, that you find new people every couple months or every year or so?
My biggest thing, I hate new writing sessions. And that sounds bad, but it's I just like, if I don't know you, how are we gonna make a song? Like, if all we can talk about is what you ate this morning, how long it took you to get here, that's not inspiring me. And like, you'll meet people, and not to say like, oh, we only work with each other. No, like, you'll meet people that like, you're like, oh, I'm not gonna work with you every day, but I love everything that you do. When we see each other, it's gonna happen. Not forcing it.
Very laid back perspective. From a little more anxiety perspective, I would say you always got to have people that energize you, and I feel like we're quite, you got to be intentional about your energy, because you might go somewhere and it might drain you, and then you're for the whole week. And that happens to me sometimes, like I'll go out and vibe tonight, soul gone, whatever that is, and then just 3 people completely regenerates me. Meeting someone new, a whole new set of ideas, like again, just it's kind of just spare of the moment. Someone will text, oh, okay, I'm actually not doing anything today. Like, let's see where it can go. But I do really think having that core kind of anchor is really, has helped me so much. And I think, it is really important. We're making songs. It can get serious sometimes, in the sense where it's like, whatever you may think. But at the same time, we just sit around and play chords and, oh, that sounds great. So I think the people are so important, yeah.
Well, I can't thank you both enough for sharing your time with us today. It was really special to be given such an intimate insight into your creative process, your friendship, your trust, your magic. I know I speak for everyone when I say that we're not only looking forward to the albums and the forthcoming projects you'll work on, but looking forward to the way you two will continue to shape the next era of music. So thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank
Appreciate
you guys so
for
much.
going on.
Such a great energy.